Hello and welcome to Complete. Do you like Batman? Do you love wood? Do you love painting? Do you love putting wood together? Do you love cutting? Do you love having fun? Then this video is for you. That's right, in this video we're going to be building the Lego Batman for your wall. Although it really doesn't have to be for your wall, but that's what we're doing today. So, the Lego Batman, it's what we're going to be making today, and before we begin, let me explain to you what I'm going to be building in the end. Basically, it's just going to be Lego's Batman, but three-dimensional because I'm going to be gluing pieces of wood together, kind of like what you'd see in a layered map. The base plate is where all the painting is going to go, it's the bottom plate, and then the other layers are going to have the holes so you can see the base plate. The other side on the left is where all the dimensions that I'm going to be using for this project, and the first step into completing this is to put this in a computer, and then from there we can print it out and we'll go on. I found some pictures of Batman Lego's face on the internet, and then from that I formed a base for the project, and then from the base I made different layers. So just imagine each layer a piece of wood, and then I just add each piece to the base to form Batman Lego's face as a three-dimensional piece. The program that I'm using for this is called Pixelmator. With all these done, I'm going to print out each individual one, making sure that they're all proportional to each other. Now, with computer work all done, we can print each piece out, making sure that they all have the same scale. Then we can cut each piece and then find a piece of wood. It doesn't really matter what the height or length of the board is, as long as each piece can fit on the board. The width of the board, though, I'm using is 1/4 of an inch. With the board, you can glue each piece onto the board. The glue that I'm using is a spray glue. That just works for me, it just makes it easier, but you can use any glue when doing it. So once we have every piece glued onto the board the way we want, then we can begin to cut. I'm using a bandsaw when I'm cutting out all these pieces, but you can use any other saw. And before I begin, let me just say that since I'm using a bandsaw, the blade is pretty wide, so I have to make wide turns. Thus, when I'm cutting around Batman's ears, for example, I have to make a lot of wide turns to make a tight turn. Additionally, it's way easier if you cut the board into sections, so you can move the board around easier, plus it's not getting in the way when you're cutting. Then to smooth out the corners and such, I sand it down a little bit. Then I put it all together to see how it looks, but I don't really like how it ends so sharply at the top of the face. So what I had in mind is I'm going to move each piece back a little bit, then mark each piece out, then cut the pieces that I marked. And this is what I got. I like it a lot better than just having it end so sharply. Now it's kind of gives it some texture to the face. And then to fix it even more, I give it a quick sand. And with all that done, I went on to the next step, which was basically just to cut the holes for the eyes and the mouth. And the best way to do this is just to glue the 4 pieces that I'm gonna cut together, then cut them all at once. That will just make it easier and faster. Now, the best way to cut out the holes is to use a lot of complicated machinery, but we all don't have that. So I'm just going to use drills and just drill out the areas where the holes need to be. Then take a file and just file it down until it's smooth. Alright, all that is left to do is to paint it and do a little more gluing. The first step in painting it is to take off all the paper that is left on the wood. Hopefully you didn't put too much glue on the paper when doing that step. On the other hand, in the next step, I'm giving everything a black coat. I masked out where the mouth and eyes are going to go, so it's easy to paint that. Now I can give it a few more coats with the black just to finish it off, and then we can take the masking off to reveal the wood, and then we can paint that with the respected paints. So to begin, I'm just going to paint the skin with a tan. Then for the eyes, we don't have to go really detailed because we just have to have the whites to cover where the holes are going to be showing. Then we can do the mouth. The teeth, I'm painting white. Then for the outline of the mouth, I'm doing a black. Then for the little lines beside the mouth, I am doing a darker tan. Alright, it's almost done. All that is left to do is to glue it all together, and then if you're putting it on a wall, you should add a hole so you can mount it. And if you are putting a hole on this, you should probably make a cavity. And the best way to do this, I believe, is to make a larger hole behind the base plate and then make a small hole on the base plate. And with that cavity, it'll be easier for the heads of nails and screws to fit and latch onto the Batman face thing. With the hole in place, all that is left to do now is just glue the two pieces together. And just make sure that everything is aligning properly, everything from the face thing to the holes, if you did put them on. Finally, with everything said and done, here is the finished product.